Hey everyone, my name is Connortbot. Today I'm going to be covering 10 quick tips that'll help you become a better toxicologist main. First, before we get started, we're going to go through this really quick, so keep up. Second of all, please consider subscribing to this channel and the Twitch. I put a lot of work into making these YouTube videos, and also Twitch, I answer questions live, I play with viewers, and you get to catch a lot of the videos you see here live. Also, a lot of the credit for this video goes towards a toxicologist Discord that is meant for only toxicologists by two people named Next and Camski. They cover good builds, tips and tricks, techs, all that kind of stuff. And you get to meet a ton of other toxicologists. So feel free to join that Discord, and credit to them for a couple of these tips. Let's get started. Number 1, get close to people. Not only does toxic scale down and it's meant to be the shotgun type weapon, so getting farther away from people is going to scale down your damage really fast. And the only way to out damage everyone is to be right next to them and slapping them in the face. You have a variety of ways to getting there, such as your rune, your normal movement using your boots, and your best ability, which is Vanishing Miss. So always remember, the most important tip is to get close to them in any way you can and slap them with big damage. Number 2, Vanishing Miss, or VM for short, is your best ability. It is your most important mobility and ability that you get in your arsenal. Every good toxicologist knows how to use VM. Now, here's a simple tech that you absolutely have to learn, and it is a simple way just to get some really quick and fast burst movement with your Vanishing Miss to close down distance in a fight and to engage. Look slightly down so the cloud is in front but not immediately touching it. Hold down W, throw it, and hold down spacebar. Takes minimal practice, but is your most important tech. This way, you will bounce off the floor. Keep in mind, the cloud is omnidirectional. Pressing any WASD keys will push you in that direction. As an example, when I want to climb vertically quickly, I put the cloud under, look down, and hold S. This is because when I'm looking down, S is behind you and therefore up, so it will launch me upwards. Just keep in mind that your Vanishing Miss will push you in whatever you're doing with your WASD keys. Maybe go in practice mode for just 10 minutes or practice in game to get this muscle memory down. Number 3, Reclouding. Your clouds last fairly long enough for 3 to 4 dashes if you reuse them. For example, you can see me hitting this guy and then dashing back into the cloud, flicking back towards him once I touch it, and going back at him with Outbreak. It's important to consciously know your cloud's location and make an effort to reuse this valuable asset of your build. A great way to do this is to think about pushing your enemy towards the cloud so that you get to reuse it, or just generally using your own rune to get back into it. Number 4, toxicologists have really long kill times. We thrive on outplaying them and confusion. A great talent to run is runic fluency, because this will give you 2 runes, which means you can get 2 dashes or 2 shadow steps, preferably shadow steps after you get Outbreak, and your VM. With 3 different movement abilities with a short dash and invis, it will make you a very unpredictable player if you use them wisely. So when you're fighting, the best way to think about fights is to dash, hit, dash, hit, dash, hit, outplaying them, getting behind them, things like that. Just keep using your movements so that you can get those toxic slaps. So this tip is to basically, before you enter a fight, make sure you have all 3 of those things, your 2 rune charges and your VM. Number 5, Pyro is your biggest counter in the game. This is because all fire reacts with toxic to create Dragon Fire, which is a really high damaging 20 tick combo. This means that any fire, which can be a fire puddle reacting to their fireball, or fire wall, or shooting directly at a cloud, will ignite your cloud and turn it into dragon fire. Even if you are in it, you will still take big damage. VM is your biggest tool. Them having many ways to counter your best ability kinda sucks, but here's how to counter their counter. First of all, be always on the lookout for fire gauntlets on their hands. You want to know your enemy before getting into a fight. There's many ways to deal with this. Throw your cloud away from the fire, time your cloud so they don't shoot it in time, throw your cloud timed at them so they DF themselves, or at least stop them from shooting for a bit if they're a smart player. If they're hiding behind a firewall, a cloud will immediately dragon fire, damage them, and clear the wall. Number 6, distance. You're the strongest very close up. The best toxic players run Frost because that covers their weakness area, which is long range. However, getting in this awkward range where you aren't close enough to hit them with toxic for big enough damage to out DPS them, and at a comfortable range for your enemy like a pyro or a conduit, this is the worst spot for a toxic main. Like I said, you have a lot of ways to get close. Your VM for engaging, and your shadow steps just in general, or sneaking up on them, weaving between physical things, using line of sight to get close. There's a variety of ways for you to get close, but always remember to get close. Same as the tip I just said at the start of this video, but 10 sounds a lot better than 9. So Number 8, learn the Frost Gauntlet, please. Your biggest weaknesses are long range and people in the air. It was really hard to hit people not only long range and in the air with your Toxic Gauntlet. Frost deals with all of those and with high damage. Now keep in mind, yes, Frost is hard for a lot of people. A lot of people have trouble with it, but it is very rewarding, and this is why I'm suggesting you start practicing it now, because as someone who does hit their Frost shots, it's very rewarding. The other alternative is Pyro, although that's not even close to as good. Number 8, one of the best builds, if not the best build, and the most beginner-friendly build is Runic Fluency, Fervor, Recovery, or Thirsty. Now, Recovery can be swapped out for Thirsty, just as Fervor can be swapped out for Scavenging, but that is personal preference. I personally like to run Scavenging sometimes to avoid third parties, especially in solos. Thirsty allows you to get resets off a lot faster, while Recovery just makes your survivability better in a fight. And Runic Fluency is a must for those 2 rune charges. Number 9, Splitting Clouds. This is your 4th ability that you get. A lot of people think this is a nerf because it makes your clouds bigger and therefore easier to DF, although this is not the case. First of all, throwing it straight down or very, very close to you increases it only slightly. Second of all, that might be a good thing. It might be easier to DF people, especially if you're fighting pyro. And another great way to traverse the map very fast and attack this tip is throw your clouds on a tree. One will go on the tree and the others will go further. You can traverse the map so much faster like this. And finally, number 10. When starting a fight, lob a bunch of toxic shots. One hit will do up to 20 damage on armor, which is called corrosion. Not on health, only on armor. Amazing way to chip away their armor before starting. And that was all of them in a very, very fast way. Obviously, I can elaborate on these tips not only in the comments, but also on my Twitch, so please consider doing that or asking if you have any other questions or you want elaboration. But hopefully all those tips helped you. Hopefully you get your win or your first win, or just get better at Toxicologists in general with these tips. I hope they helped. Please consider subscribing if you liked it. I will see you next time.